Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this webinar today. We're really excited about today's conversation about the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, which is opening up for applications. And we've got some great experts with us here today who know the ins and outs of broadband policy across the United States. And we want to try to tailor this for a New Hampshire audience to make sure that our constituents know what is available to them. So I want to thank Annie Custer for work on these issues over a long period of time as a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee and the Broadband Task Force at the House. And we are really honored to be joined by the chairwoman of the FCC, Jessica Rosenworcel, who will provide some comments a little bit later, as well as Ed Bartholomé, who can perhaps get into some of the more technical questions that you may have about this particular program. Clearly, this is an important time to ensure that everyone has affordable access to high-speed broadband. It's never been more important to our daily lives than it has over the past year. But we know that the experience that we have seen because of COVID-19 is going to remain with us. We are still going to see services offered in a virtual environment, whether that's education, healthcare, government services. And so it's really crucial that all Granite Staters have access to the technology and affordable internet service to make sure that they can access these services and participate in our communities and in our economy. Over the last year, on a moment's notice, we have all set up our home offices. We've adjusted to seeing friends and colleagues and teachers on our screens. We have all gotten accustomed to platforms like FaceTime and Zoom, and it's been so crucial to allow us to consult with doctors, to attend classes, and to connect with loved ones from whom we've been socially distanced for a lot of months. So we've relied on our computers, we've relied on that internet service to make our day-to-day lives work. And we've all recognized that this is not a luxury, it is an absolute necessity moving forward. And that's why this program arrives at an important point in time. This emergency broadband program was authorized as part of the end of year coronavirus relief package, and it's going to help eligible households make these connections in an affordable manner. They will be eligible up to $50 per month to help them pay for broadband services. There's also a one-time discount of $100 to purchase a device so you can access the internet. And we will get a little bit more into the ins and outs with speakers from the FCC, but I'm just really pleased to be with you all today. We want to help spread the word to make sure as many people as possible sign up for this program. With that, I'll turn things first over to Congresswoman Custer for some opening remarks.
Great. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be with you, Chris, and I'm very grateful for you including me in this panel. And thank you to Acting Chairwoman Rosenworcel and our distinguished panelists. Wonderful to join you in the rollout of the Emergency Broadband Benefit Fund, which, as Chris described, will provide critical funding to make broadband access more affordable for Granite State families. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the need for affordable broadband internet in communities all across the state. And as Chris Pappas just mentioned, whether it was your kids suddenly going to school online or your college-age children trying to compete and keep up online, whether it was you getting your mental health or substance abuse treatment or medical appointments online, or whether it was working from home, as so many Granite Staters did over the past year. I've heard from constituents all across the state about the need for accessible, affordable internet access. And I want to make sure that everyone, whether you're have school-age children, whether you're working from home, whether you're a business trying to navigate e-commerce for the first time, that you have access to reliable broadband service. So I was proud to support the end of the year agreement authorizing $3.2 billion for the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Fund to help those most in need gain access to the tools they need to live and learn and work and prosper here at home. I'm also proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Accessible Affordable Internet for All Act. And as Chris mentioned, I am a member of the House Rural Broadband Task Force. So I will continue to work on legislation in the Energy and Commerce Committee that will help close this digital divide. Great to be with you. I look forward to the discussion. And now I'll turn it over to the acting FCC chairwoman.
Thank you so much, Congressman Pappas and Congresswoman Custer. It is a treat to be with you virtually today, in part because I serve as the acting chairwoman of the FCC. So I think it is a priority for the United States to make sure that everyone, everywhere gets connected to high-speed broadband service. It's also a treat to be here virtually because I'm from New England. So, my summers are either hiking in the White Mountains or the Green Mountains. So it feels a little bit like being close to home. And I want to make sure that we get the part of the country I'm from and everywhere else connected. So there was this time before this pandemic when we treated broadband as nice to have. But I think as we exit this time, we all know it's need to have for everyone everywhere. We all know that there is probably still some students sitting outside the parking lot at a school or library right now trying to catch a free Wi-Fi signal. There's probably someone else who's putting off a telemedicine appointment because they don't have the service necessary to follow up with their healthcare provider. And there might be someone else who isn't signing up for a vaccine because they don't know how to go online or have the service necessary to secure an appointment. So the good news is we can fix those things. This is a problem we can fix. And the legislation late last year created the nation's largest ever broadband affordability program. This is the Emergency Broadband Benefit. And it starts tomorrow. So New Hampshire's ahead of the curve. And it will provide as much as $50 a month for households to help them get connected. And there's a discounted computer, laptop, or tablet that's also available. We've never had a program this big that's all about broadband affordability, and I can't think of a better time to do it. So I am excited about this program, but I also believe that me preaching about it from the Federal Communications Commission will only go so far. We are going to need local people, local leaders, boys and girls clubs, faith institutions, people who know what it's like to live in New Hampshire and know what problems are in their backyard, who's disconnected and who needs to be connected. I believe these programs are only successful if we get trusted local officials to talk about them and help people sign up. And so this session today is important. We want to be able to help you with the information you need to get your friends, your neighbors in the Granite State connected. And without spending much more time on my soapbox here, I want to pass it on, if I can, to Ed Bartholomew, who is from the Federal Communications Commission and can walk through the program in a little more detail before we all answer some questions.
Thank you, Acting Chairwoman Rosenworcel, and thank you, Representatives Pappas and Custer. I also like to thank today's attendees for joining us this morning. This is an exciting and important program, and I'm glad that we have an opportunity to share some information about it with you. As the acting chairwoman mentioned, I plan to provide an overview of the program and talk a little bit about how it's designed to assist households struggling to pay for internet service during the pandemic. We'll go through who's eligible, how households can apply, and I'll talk a little bit about a toolkit that the FCC has developed to aid partners, navigators, and others directly serving their communities and getting the word out about this important program. I'll also share some websites and some more detailed information about how you can follow up with the FCC if you have some extra questions after we're done today. As you've heard mentioned a few times already this morning, broadband is truly need to have. This new program will allow students to connect to classrooms, individuals to work remotely, and it can help all of us connect to family, friends, telehealth services, and other critical resources. The benefit provides eligible households with up to a $50 a month discount for broadband services, including associated equipment rentals, such as a modem. It can provide up to $75 for households on tribal lands, and it provides a one-time discount of up to $100 for a laptop, desktop, or tablet purchased through a participating provider if the household contributes more than 10 and less than 50 towards the purchase price. And that's been explained to me to mean somewhere between $10.01 and $49.99 is what a household would need to contribute. It's important to note that the connected device must be provided by the same provider that the eligible household is receiving discounted broadband service from as part of the emergency benefit program. It's not a coupon or a rebate that can be used at a third-party retail store to buy a device. The emergency broadband benefit's limited to 1 monthly service discount and 1 device discount per eligible household. The benefit is not a direct to consumer benefit. It's a discount off of the monthly service bill or device, and the service provider who's providing service will seek reimbursement directly from the program. The benefit is a temporary program developed in response to the pandemic, and it will end once the program funds are exhausted or 6 months after the Department of Health and Human Services declares an end to the pandemic, whichever comes first. And as was mentioned, it's a $3.2 billion fund. The program itself is administered by the Universal Service Administrative Company. They also administer the Lifeline program, which hopefully some of you are familiar with. USAC hosts the application portal and the getemergencybroadband.org consumer website. So who's eligible? There are 5 eligibility categories for the benefit. A household is eligible if a member of the household meets one of these criteria: has an income that is at or below 135% of federal poverty guidelines, or participates in certain assistance programs such as SNAP, Medicaid, or Lifeline. And I'll talk a little bit more about Lifeline in a moment. Has received a Pell Grant in the current award year, is approved to receive benefits under the free and reduced school lunch or school breakfast program, including through the USDA community eligibility provision in both the 2019-2020 or 2020-2021 school year. We know that a number of students have been fully remote. So if they were receiving the benefit in the previous school year before the pandemic began, that would also make the household eligible. A household can also qualify if they've experienced a substantial loss of income due to a job loss or furlough since the end of February 2020. And the household had a total income in 2020 at or below $99,000 for single filers or $198,000 for joint filers. Or if the household meets the eligibility criteria for a participating provider's existing low income or COVID-19 program. So many of you may be aware that a number of providers have had low income programs for a number of years, and then many developed COVID-19 specific programs in response to the pandemic. So if someone in the household qualified for one of those, they would now be eligible for the emergency broadband benefit. It's important to keep in mind that a member of the household must meet only one of the criteria I just listed. They don't need to check all 5 of those boxes, so to speak. It's just one. So Lifeline. Lifeline's a federal program that lowers the monthly cost of phone and internet services. Eligible customers get up to $9.25 or $34.25 on tribal lands towards their bill. You can learn more about that program at fcc.gov/lifeline-consumers. It's important to note that current Lifeline participants are automatically eligible for the EBB, the Emergency Broadband Benefit. And in most cases, they don't need to apply separately for the benefit, but they will need to select a provider and an eligible plan in order to receive the benefit. Current Lifeline recipients cannot be auto-enrolled in the benefit program by their Lifeline service provider. They need to provide affirmative consent before they can be enrolled. And households can receive both Lifeline and the emergency broadband benefit at the same time. They can be applied to the same qualifying service or separately to a Lifeline service and an emergency broadband benefit service with the same or different providers. So for example, an eligible household could have a Lifeline supported mobile phone service and a separate home broadband service that's supported through the emergency broadband benefit. You've probably noticed I've been using the word household a lot in describing eligibility. A household is a group of people who live together and share money, even if they're not related to each other. If you live together and share money, you're one household. If you either don't live together or don't share money, you are two or more households. A household can qualify because of an eligible dependent child that meets the eligibility criteria. So if you remember, we talked about school lunch program participation, having received a Pell Grant. Those are ways households can qualify through a child. When completing the application, and I'll talk a little bit about how to apply in a minute, you may be asked to answer questions about your household, and there is a household worksheet that can help determine household eligibility. If a household has a bill or other liability for broadband that someone else, such as a landlord or property owner or a school, is helping to pay, the household can switch temporarily to using the emergency broadband benefit to pay for broadband service instead of relying on third-party support. Households within multi-unit dwellings, such as apartment buildings, nursing homes, and group homes, can also take advantage of the benefit. There are also ways for households within a multi-unit dwelling where the landlord or property manager is the internet account holder, and then the household may pay a monthly fee to the landlord or the property manager for internet access. They can also take advantage of the benefit, and in those situations, they should talk to the landlord or property manager and ask them to work with the participating broadband provider to find out more about the program. You can learn more about how the program defines a household by visiting getemergencybroadband.org, and there's a navigation there, and it's under Do I Qualify and What is a Household? So as we mentioned, tomorrow is the big day. Beginning on May 12th, there will be 3 ways to apply for the emergency broadband benefit. One is to contact a participating provider directly to learn about their application process. The second is to go to getemergencybroadband.org and apply online. A third way to apply is to mail in an application along with copies of documentation that prove eligibility to Emergency Broadband Support Center, P.O. Box 7081, London, Kentucky 40742. And you don't have to write that down. It will be on a website that I'll give you in a little bit so you can find it again later. As navigators or others serving to help eligible households enroll, it's important to remember that assistance with online or paper applications must be provided in person, and that the individual applying for the benefit must sign the application and make other attestations in the online portal as part of the application process. Another important thing to note about this new temporary program is that the FCC designed the program to include some important consumer protections that will prevent things like bill shock from occurring. So participating providers must give you notice about the last day or billing cycle that the full benefit will apply to your bill, and the date or billing cycle that a partial benefit will apply to your bill, in addition to information about the cost of your broadband service when the program ends. So if the funds are beginning to run out, providers must start to notify households about the projected end date of the program and how that will impact their bill. Households also need to opt in or request to continue broadband services with the provider. If they don't opt in to continue receiving broadband services with the provider or select a new plan, their broadband service will end once the program ends. This really prevents people from getting an unexpected bill when the discount stops. And then it's important to note here too, that this applies even for customers who had service with that same provider prior to the program starting. So if you were on a service plan with a provider, you begin to get the EBB, the emergency broadband benefit, you still have to opt in to continue service, otherwise your service will end. Households that are eligible cannot be excluded based on prior debt with the participating provider. So if you have a previous overdue balance, you can't be excluded from this program. And consumers can change their benefit to a participating provider at any time. So consumer choice remains. You're not locked into the company that you first enroll with. However, you can only get one eligible device discount even if you do change providers. Couple of notes about providers. There are over 825 across the country that are participating in the program. The program's open to all broadband providers that meet program requirements, not just those currently offering Lifeline services. We have both fixed and mobile providers that have elected to participate in the program. And you can check directly with providers in your area to learn about the programs and the service plans they're offering as part of the emergency broadband benefit. You can find a list of those participating providers by state or territory at fcc.gov/broadband benefit. Many providers will be asking consumers to complete the online or mail-in applications that I talked about, and those will be available starting tomorrow at getemergencybroadband.org. But there are some providers that have received approval from the FCC to use their own alternative verification processes to enroll eligible households. I want to talk briefly about a toolkit that we developed to help people spread the word about this important program. So as the chairwoman mentioned, due to the unique circumstances of the pandemic, we knew early on that we would need trusted voices and outreach partners that know their local communities in order to drive awareness about this program. As this is both a new and temporary program, it's important to work together to build awareness about the program itself and the opportunities it can bring to eligible households, including hard to reach consumer groups. So our toolkit is a collection of social media materials, printables, and other tools designed to help communities, partners, grassroots organizers, constituent services teams, and other navigators in raising awareness about the emergency broadband benefit. The tools are for public access. They're downloadable, they're free to use, they can be co-branded, adjusted into your voice. The goal was to create easy to use materials that partners and others that serve their communities can grab and quickly make use of. They're there for your use and hopefully will make discussing the program with your audience easy and accurate. You can find the toolkit online at fcc.gov/broadband benefit. And in the toolkit, we have sample social media posts, images, a draft newsletter insert, a fact sheet, a flyer, a 9x5 info card, a quarter-page handout, a poster, infographics, audio PSAs, and a PowerPoint slide deck that can be used to conduct train-the-trainer style meetings, similar to what we're doing today. We also have recently posted an American Sign Language video that explains the program, and we'll have soon some additional videos, some that feature the acting chairwoman, and a Spanish version of the video providing an overview of the program that should be available shortly. In addition to English and Spanish content, the fact sheet, 9x5 info card, and quarter-page handout are also available in Arabic, Amharic, Burmese, traditional Chinese, French, Haitian Creole, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, Somali, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. And the FCC is always happy to fulfill any accessible format requests that we receive for materials, and those can be sent to fcc504@fcc.gov. So please take a look at what we have. Grab, use the materials, customize them for your audience. They're meant to be copied and pasted. You can print them out on home sort of computer printers and small office equipment. You can add information to the back side of the one-pagers about local participating providers and how to contact them. If you want to see a much longer version of all the information I just shared with you, we do have a video of a webinar that we did on the 27th of April. You can watch that video, which also includes a walkthrough of the online application portal, and that's available at fcc.gov/broadband benefit. I've shared a lot of information with you, and I know we want to have some time for questions, but I do just want to remind you of a couple key websites and a phone number before I turn it back over for questions. So fcc.gov/broadband benefit is our consumer hub for information about the program. We have a detailed FAQ there, the toolkit, providers listed by state, all those videos, everything I've been telling you about this morning. Getemergencybroadband.org. That is the site where tomorrow consumers can begin to apply. There's also a support center that is staffed 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's available at 833-511-0311. And if you have questions an hour from now or tomorrow, you're welcome to email us at broadbandbenefit@fcc.gov. So thank you, and I'll turn it back over to our hosts. Sure. Thank you again for joining us today, and thank you in advance for helping us to spread the word about this important program. We look forward to partnering. If you have follow-up questions or want additional information, email broadbandbenefit@fcc.gov. You can also visit fcc.gov/broadband benefit to find links to the toolkit and a host of other information about the program. And beginning tomorrow, visit getemergencybroadband.org to begin the enrollment process. So thank you.
So this pandemic has made apparent like nothing before that if you want a fair shot at 21st century success, you're gonna need to be connected to high-speed internet. That's true for every person, every household, every community, and every state. And if we want to tackle that problem, we're gonna have deployment challenges in some of the rural reaches of this country. That's absolutely true. But it's also true that we have an affordability crisis in this country, and there are a lot of households who are not online today because they can't afford to go online. This program is directed at them, and now we hope that we can get local actors to talk about it and help those households that need a boost get online. So please let us know how we can help. And thank you so much to Congressman Pappas and Congresswoman Custer for having us here today.
Well, thank you for joining us. And Ed, thank you for all the details of the program. $50 a month benefit for families that qualify. Lots of families will qualify in New Hampshire if you have a child on a school lunch program, if you get a Pell Grant, or certain income qualifications. So we want to help you get signed up for this program. You can talk to your provider in that area or give us a call. My office in Concord, 603-226-1002 if you live in the 2nd Congressional District, or custer.house.gov. And we'll be posting the information. We want to help get the word out. We want to get you signed up. We want to make sure that every student in New Hampshire has a great opportunity for success. If you're working from home, we want to make sure that you can afford to have the services that you need online. If you're getting your health care for home, and particularly I want to reach out to people getting mental health coverage or getting substance use treatment. It's very, very available and successful and effective online. And obviously, if you want to start a new business, e-commerce is a great way to go. And we want you to participate fully and thrive here in New Hampshire. So thanks for tuning in, and thank you. Turning it over to my good friend, my colleague, Chris Pappas, leading the way on this issue.
Well, thanks, Annie, and thanks to our guests from the FCC for a real comprehensive look at this important program. And I want to thank Chairwoman Rosenworcel for her longstanding commitment to ensuring that we are getting affordable technology out to our communities, access to that technology. She's talked a lot about closing the homework gap, which we know is there and is real for so many families in New Hampshire and across this country. And this is one way that we can help address that. So we also encourage folks to go to the website, check out ways that you can sign up for this program if you're eligible, and help spread the word. We want as many people in New Hampshire as possible to take advantage of this. And as we move forward, once again, reach out to our office if you have any questions, 285-4300 or pappas.house.gov. We thank you for all your great questions and for joining us here for this webinar today, and certainly hope that everyone stays safe.